Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Well, good news this morning, if you can call it good news, in regards to the case of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. There has been an arrest. Two individuals arrested, a father and son team, no doubt. I'll put their photos on the screen. Christopher Presciado, age 19, and Ramon Presciado, age 53. Apparently, Christopher, with a baby faced, long haired teenager, is the shooter in this case. Can you imagine that? I mean, just horrific. The shooter. Uh, so an arrest has been made in the killings of a pregnant Texas teen, as we know, Savannah Soto, her boyfriend Matthew Guerra, and their bodies were found last week in a car in San Antonio. Christopher Prasiado was arrested on suspicion of capital murder in the deaths of 18-year-old Savannah Soto, who was 9 months pregnant, and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra, according to San Antonio police. Prasiado's father, Ramon Presciado, who I'll put his picture up on the screen, was arrested on charges of abuse of a corpse, accused of helping his son move the bodies. The case has been listed as a capital murder case due to the death of the unborn child. It appears, and this is what we were talking about, no, not anything to say, I told you so. It appears to be a narcotic-related deal that went bad, according to San Antonio Police Sergeant Washington Moscoso. They expect more charges to be pending. The bodies of Soto and Guerra were found each with a gunshot wound in a car park near a San Antonio apartment complex on December 26. The bodies had been there for possibly 3 or 4 days, according to Chief William McManus, who told reporters that last week. Soto, who was past her delivery date, was reported missing by her family when she missed an essential medical appointment. Guerra was Soto's boyfriend. The arrest came days after San Antonio police asked for the public's help finding two persons of interest seen in surveillance video, and I'll show you that video in a bit, that captured a pickup truck, and the victim's vehicle driving up to each other in the area where the bodies were found, then driving away. One of the key pieces of evidence that was collected at the scene was Savannah's cell phone. That was handed over to the technology team, who was able to download some information, according to Sergeant Moscoso. Then, with the help of federal investigators, remember we spoke about potentially getting the DEA involved. So that's probably who was involved, the Drug Enforcement Administration. With the help of federal investigators, they were able to get enough information, and that information was given to the detectives of San Antonio Police Department. That information pointed authorities to the possible location of the pickup truck and ultimately to the two suspects, their home. The father answered the door. He knew why the police were there and cooperated fully with the investigation, according to Moscoso. Father and son were interrogated by police, and detectives were able to get a warrant signed by a judge. Detectives will be working with the district attorney's office to determine if there'll be any charges related to the unborn baby. So again, horrific situation. But look, we want to really, if there's any light at the end of the tunnel for this, is that we want to just thank the San Antonio police and for the fantastic job they did. Amazing. And I know I've worked cases like this, and I know they got no sleep since this occurred. And now they can, well, they still have to keep the pedal to the metal, but they can relax a little bit because they have two under arrest. Here's the perp walk from last night. That's the father, Ramon Presciado.
Did you know she was pregnant?
Oh, it's fake news, huh?
That car right there.
This is your final chance to say something about your side.
¿Quién te ayudó? Hey guys, we're going this way.
¿Quién mató a
¿Quién te
Savannah?
ayudó? ¿Lo hiciste solo? ¿Te arrepientes? ¿Quieres decir algo?
Anything to say to your family?
That guy's always one side. You don't know what's going on.
Back up, guys. Back up.
Please don't push me.
I'm not moving you this way.
No, not you.
Any messages for the family? You sorry?
They want to know why. Why'd you
¿Qué
do
te hizo
it?
hacerlo?
You sorry?
Did you do it? Why did you do it?
Did you know she was pregnant?
Apparently, Ramon's involvement was in helping to dispose of the body. So that would seem, and they didn't give a great deal of information at the press conference, that Christopher Presciado is the shooter. And so, sort of when you don't, you see these two individuals, the faces, a father and son, Christopher Presciado, who's 19, and the father, they don't look like two outlaws, two gangsters.
Did you say?
Huh?
You didn't care?
Why was it the whole family?
Close to Christmas?
Remorse? Anything?
Why, man? Any remorse? You sorry? Ain't you sorry for lying about what you're saying? You don't even know what's going on. Well, tell us. Just make stuff up like always. Tell us. What's going on?
Did you shoot them?
Did you shoot them?
Are you in the video? Did you kill them or did you just hide the evidence?
¿Quién mató a Savannah?
La mataste.
How'd you know Savannah?
¿Quién los mató?
Was it retaliation?
¿Quién los mató?
You sorry?
Who killed them?
If it wasn't you, who was it then?
It's your chance to say something. Es tu última oportunidad para decir algo.
Excuse me, guys. Closing door. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Are you good? All right.
Again, we've just watched Ramon Presciado, the perp walk into the car. Now we're going to see the son. This is the shooter, Christopher Presciado. Obviously, doesn't look like a desperado, but you don't have to be a desperado to pull the trigger.
How does it make you feel an unborn baby?
Was it you?
What do you want to say to your family, to Savannah, to Matthew's family?
You sorry? You sorry? Well, what's the-
Nothing to
what's the
say,
family?
an unborn child.
It was an entire family.
You sorry?
This is the sergeant's going to say a few words. He answers a lot of questions, but there's a lot of questions that are unanswered here. The sergeant will be coming to the screen. Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Washington Moscoso, WASHINGTON, MOSCOSO. So the individuals you saw this evening, the first individual's name is Ramon Presciado, 53 years old, SID number 443651. The second individual was Christopher Prasiado, 19 years old, SID number 1191061. So the two individuals we just walked out today, again, it's a father and son. The first individual is a father, the second individual is a son. They're going to be charged. The son's going to be charged this evening with capital murder, and the father's going to be charged with abuse of the corpse. We do expect more charges to be pending. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing. We all know what kind of led us to this to where we are today. I will say that when we recover, or when the bodies were discovered on Danny K, obviously the investigation began. SAPD detectives made that location and started collecting evidence. One of the key pieces of evidence that we did collect at the scene was Savannah's cell phone. And so that was handed over to our technology team, who was able to download some information on there. With the assistance of the U.S. Secret Service, we were able to get enough information. And so that information was given to our detectives today. With that information, the detectives were able to find a possible location of where the suspect vehicle that was released on that surveillance camera, the surveillance video, possible location where that suspect vehicle might be. They made that location, and sure enough, the vehicle was there. They did a little bit of surveillance on the video or on the vehicle, and then were able to determine which house it belonged to. They went up, knocked on the door. The first gentleman, the first individual, the father answered the door. He knew why the police were there. Was cooperated fully with the investigation. We're right here to headquarters, and our detectives were able to start interviewing both the son and the father. Again, they were both at the home. They were both brought down here, and the interrogations began. Through interrogating the individuals, our detectives had enough. Based on what they said, there was enough information there to get a warrant signed by a judge tonight. Again, to charge Christopher with capital murder and Ramon with abuse of a corpse. Again, there will be more charges pending. This is what we have right now. I'll answer any questions.
Due to the capital murder for the son and then abuse of the corpse charge for the dad, does that mean that you guys believe the son killed them and then the dad helped hide the bodies?
Yes. And so I want to touch base on something real quick. Since the release of the video that we put out on the 28th, internet has blown up with people sending tips and people just sending misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation out there. These two individuals are the only suspects that we were looking for. They were arrested. There were many names being thrown around on the internet. Those people had nothing to do with this. We vetted them and everything. They didn't have anything to do with these murderers. So the individual, again, Christopher, we believe committed the murders of Matthew and Savannah, and then Ramon helped.
Did they say why?
It appears to be a narcotic-related deal that went bad.
Do we know the connection between this father and son and Matthew and Savannah, or the connection to the apartment complex?
So there's no apparent connection to the apartment complex. It's just a place where they went to go dispose or hide the vehicle with the bodies in it, and it appears that it was a drug deal. So there was like a drug connection to the suspect and the two victims.
When you say abuse of a corpse, can you talk about that a little bit? Was there any mutilation, or is that?
It's just when you hiding the body, moving the body after discovering that and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
When did you keep them? What exactly?
So December 21st, which is a Thursday, just before midnight, is when the actual murders took place on that.
And are they going to be charged for the baby? Because in the state of Texas, technically, they could be charged for third.
Right. So like I said, there's going to be possible charges pending, more charges pending. Our detectives are going to talk with the Bexar County DA to determine if they're going to be any charges facing any charges related to the unborn baby.
And do we know if she was dilated at all? If
I didn't have that information from the medical examiners. I know that she was scheduled to be induced, and she didn't make her appointment, which is why the family went to the police to file the missing persons report.
Did he say where exactly they killed them?
I don't have exact location. We just know that they were killed at a different location and then taken to the apartment complex to dispose of the vehicle and the body. I know there was some Spanish questions I wanted to knock out real quick.
Sí, podría darnos un resumen pequeño para la audiencia hispana de estas personas que presentó.
No, se pregunta.
Well, a lot of information there, but also a lot of unanswered questions that I think we still have. One of the things we know now definitively is, of course, and I think most people assume this, that they were not killed at the location where the bodies were found. They were transported. But they also didn't answer the question, were they killed outside the car and put inside the car? That was never answered either. We said early on that this was going to be a drug deal. This was all about drugs, and not the "I told you so," but it had such high level indicators that that's what this was all about. So that leaves so many other questions. Has Matthew or Savannah had any interactions with Christopher Prasiado prior to this? And that will be determined with cell phone records. And does Matthew have Christopher Preciado's phone number in his cell phone? Powerful evidence if there is. We spoke about early on that many of these cases are solved through digital evidence, and we didn't have the information early on, nor did the San Antonio police release it, that they recovered Savannah's cell phone in the car. And lo and behold, that was one of the most important pieces of evidence, which led to the apartment complex, which the truck, the black pickup, dark colored pickup truck was found that was seen opposite their vehicle. They conducted surveillance on that vehicle, and they grabbed, I believe, the father. They went to the house, and then the case unfolded very quickly from that point on. And just tremendous work by detectives. Another big question I have is, Christopher, they're talking about capital murder, but he's 19 years old. I don't know what the law is in Texas. Could it be that you're not eligible to be charged with capital murder unless you're 21? I don't know. Here's again the.
This is your final chance to say something about your
This
side.
is Ramon Presciado, the father, and his charges that he helped dispose of a corpse, moving the bodies.
Yeah, guy's always one sided. You don't even know what's going on.
Sure, they don't look like desperados, drug dealers, killers. They don't really look like that. But what does a drug dealing desperado look like? Here he is walking down the hall with two officers. This is in America known as the perp walk. It just seems like it's a
Are you sorry for what
everywhere.
happened? Did you know she was pregnant?
Oh, always fake news. So
This is your final chance to say something about your side.
Hey guys, we're going this way.
It's funny how the media thinks that they can try the case right on the street, asking these questions.
yeah, guy's always one sided. You don't even know what's going on.
The father, Ramon Presciado.
You sorry?
They want to know why. Why did you do that?
You sorry?
Apparently, the son, Christopher, has no criminal history,
Did you know she was pregnant?
and the father has maybe a couple of small brushes with the law, but they're certainly not desperados.
Close to Christmas? Why, man? Any remorse? You sorry? Ain't you sorry for lying about what you're saying? You don't even know what's going on. Well, tell us. You just make stuff up. Like, tell us. What's going on?
Did you shoot them?
Did you shoot them?
An unborn baby.
Did you kill them or did you just hide the evidence?
How'd you know Savannah?
Was it retaliation?
You sorry?
If it wasn't you, who was it then?
So all these questions by the news being thrown out there. People always interested in these perp walks. It's Americana, as a lot of you people that are watching this from other countries asking questions. What is this perp walk? Here comes Christopher Presciado, 19 years old, and he's the shooter, the executioner, actually, a baby.
Are you sorry for what
18-year-old.
happened? Anything to say to your family? How does it make you feel, an unborn baby? What do you want to say to your family, to Savannah, to Matthew's family?
You sorry? You sorry? What message do you have
Nothing
for
to
the family?
say. An unborn child.
It was an entire family.
It makes me laugh as if he should confess to the news reporter, you know.
You sorry?
He has a good soundbite. You know, some of the questions I have also is, was this, I would imagine that, and again, this wasn't answered either, that Matthew was the seller and Christopher Presciado was there to buy, but that hasn't been answered. So was this what's commonly called in the drug business a rip? What did he just intend to rip them off and take their money and their drugs and not pay for it? That's a question that wasn't answered. So I would imagine today the San Antonio police will do a more in-depth press conference on what actually occurred and give us more information, because there's so many unanswered questions. Was there a prior relationship? How did Christopher Preciado get the name of Matthew Guerra? Was he referred by someone else, or had they had prior dealings with each other? Because usually someone that's selling drugs is not going to meet with a brand new person, unvetted person, in a situation like this that puts them in danger. So these are all questions that I have. And we had mentioned earlier that some federal unit would probably be helping the San Antonio police. And I assumed that it would be, the Drug Enforcement Administration. But you heard them say, the sergeant, I believe it was Moscato, he said that it was the Secret Service that helped them with the cell phone and get that information back. So when they get information out of a cell phone, they have to get a search warrant, even though the cell phone belongs to the victim. They still have to get a search warrant. So that takes a little bit of time. So everyone was getting impatient that this case wasn't solved yesterday. And again, kudos to the San Antonio Police Department, to the detectives who worked tirelessly to solve this case. Tremendous, tremendous job. And it can't be, people don't actually appreciate what goes into this. I think when a horrific crime like this occurs, the public just expects an arrest, expects law enforcement. They expect an arrest. They expect excellence. And you know something? Usually law enforcement delivers. They usually deliver. So here's the pictures. This is Christopher Presciado, 19 years old. Apparently no criminal history. He's the shooter. This little baby-faced would-be drug dealer ripoff artist executes two people. Savannah Soto, age 18, 9 months pregnant. And just look at his face. If you're listening, he has a little baby face with long hair. He's the shooter. Hard to believe, right? And here's his dad, Ramon Presciado, who apparently, from what we are getting from the police, his only offense was that he helped get rid of the bodies. But that's big enough, right? That's big enough. He helped to get rid of the bodies to cover it up for his son. One of those bodies being an 18-year-old female that was 9 months pregnant. So just horrific, just horrific.
A father and a son have been arrested in connection with the murders of Savannah Soto and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra.
Yeah, according to San Antonio police, 19-year-old Christopher Prasiado is charged with capital murder. His father, 53-year-old Ramon Presciado, is charged with abuse of a corpse in this case. Police say the deaths are in connection with a botched drug deal. Brittany Jeffers joining us live in the newsroom with how police say they were able to find the two suspects. Brittany, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, they say this critical piece of evidence in this particular case was a cell phone. San Antonio police say they collected Savannah's cell phone when they discovered the two bodies in an apartment complex parking lot on December 26. Now, as we reported, this perplexing case started when 18-year-old Soto and her 22-year-old boyfriend were reported missing the week of Christmas. Soto was pregnant and scheduled to be induced for labor when relatives said that they couldn't get in touch with her. San Antonio police say that the pregnant woman and her boyfriend's bodies were later discovered in a car in a apartment complex parking lot on December 26th. Investigators say that the two had suffered gunshot wounds. Well, police now say the information that they were able to gather on that cell phone led detectives to the suspect vehicle that was seen in surveillance video that police shared on December 28th.
They made that location, and sure enough, the vehicle was there. They did a little bit of surveillance on the video or on the vehicle, and then were able to determine which house it belonged to. They went up, knocked on the door. The first gentleman, the first individual, the father answered the door. He knew why the police were there. Was cooperated fully with the investigation. We're right here to headquarters, and our detectives were able to start interviewing both the son and the father. Again, they were both at the home. They were both brought down here.
Now, this was an update from San Antonio police overnight. They tell us they believe that the deaths are in connection with a botched drug deal, and that Soto and Guerra were killed on December 21st before midnight. According to police, Christopher Prasiado is the alleged killer. Investigators say that his father is accused of helping to move the bodies. Police say there's no connection to where those bodies were located. They say they believe they were left there after they were killed at a different location. Now, San Antonio police also tell us they are working with the Bexar County District Attorney's Office to try to determine if any further charges will be filed.
So lots of questions, and I'm sure that the San Antonio police will have an additional press conference to tell us step by step what occurred. But when you look at the picture on the screen of Savannah Soto there, you cannot help but feel sad and feel that this is a young girl that had a whole life ahead of her. And the drug business is an unforgiving business. And I'm not saying but she knew what her boyfriend was doing. She knew what time it was, We see all these photos here. What happened to Savannah Soto? A horrific death. And the unborn child, the innocent unborn child became part of this, that was the show we talked about yesterday. The San Antonio police announced an arrest in the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra case, and there's the two perpetrators, Christopher Presciado and his father, Ramon Presciado. Christopher, 19 years old, apparently no criminal history. Could he have a juvenile record that's sealed? Yeah, absolutely. Ramon Presciado, 53. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, he owns some kind of cleaning business, and he has a criminal history, but very slight. Nothing that anyone would say, "Oh, he's in this business." But let's not forget, many people here knew what Matthew was doing. They knew what he was into. Does that give anyone a right to take his life? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's part and parcel to the drug trade, and we can't. The expectations are that if you are in this business, and here's a picture that everyone's seen, a picture of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra, and Matthew's holding about a 7 or 8 inch high wad of bills. Given like a little gang sign with his right hand. He's got the bling on and all of that stuff. So he's obviously attracted to that life. And it's the old expression, of course, in the Bible, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And then everyone knows that if you're in the drug trade, it's not going to have a happy ending. You're not going to have a long career. It's the kind of profession, if it's not really a profession, it's the kind of job that you're not going to last long. You're not going to last very long on the street. Betty Smith, it's just a shame. If it was on her phone, she set up the drug buy or the re-up she knew and was involved. They didn't have to meet this Chris guy before the baby was born. Matt could have met him later. Well, the business doesn't stop, Hope, the father owned a HVAC company called Almighty Air. I love the way a lot of you guys are doing your own investigation. That's great. Thank you. I appreciate the information. Daredevils are not victims. Fabian is the victim, referring Imichidoro, right? Well, referring to the unborn baby. Absolutely. I'm reading from the chat for those that are listening. Suzanne Sanders, yeah, she would have been a great mom. Wonder if they had lived, if she would bring the baby to drug deals. That poor baby. My heart breaks for that baby. Yeah, we all do. We all do. It breaks our heart. Venus Gal can't figure how a deal went wrong with a guy with no record. One tried to cheat the other. Look, a lot of times, especially if there's a lot of money and drugs involved, the person who's the potential buyer will decide, hey, I'm not going to pay for this. I'm just going to rip him. I'm going to take his drugs. I'm going to take his money. I'm going to take his jewelry. And these geniuses, and I use that word very loosely, these geniuses think they're going to get away with it. And guess what? They're not going to get away with it because it's, they're not masterminds. They're not too smart. That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they're buying drugs and trying to flip the drugs and resell it. So this investigation, though, was outstanding in every way. And as we said, we frequently criticize the press on this show when they start saying, is this case getting cold? They're ridiculous. Someone should hold them to the same level of accountability that they attempt to hold the police to.
Approaching a silver Kia Optima, and you have two individuals interacting with each other, some type of exchange perhaps going on. Now, this is the same Kia Optima that was found at the 5900.
This is the initial video that they put out with the persons of interest. And obviously that's the truck that they were looking for and ultimately found. And at this time, what we know now, we didn't know then, they're Savannah and Matthew are in the car and they're dead in that car. So they're moving the car from where it occurred. And my question is, and it hasn't been answered either, were they shot outside the car and put inside that car? That seems unlikely, but there's a possibility. And the sergeant from Washington, Presciado, I think his last name was, he didn't answer that question. He didn't answer. I mean, I'm sure the guy's fabulous at his job, but they didn't spend a lot of time with details last night when they gave this press conference. So I would imagine there's going to be a much more in-depth press conference today. And on the scene, you're seeing the video of potentially what helped break this case.
Block of Danny Kaye, and inside that car, Matthew Guerra and Savannah Soto found dead. And now it was asked of McManus if he has a message to the families impacted of Soto and Guerra, and he said that at this time he's just saying this is a heinous act, unspeakable. And he was also answered a question about whether he's ruling out murder-suicide. That is still a potential possibility.
That was early on in the investigation, if you recall, because it was a close contact wound. Both of them were shot with close contact. And law enforcement in the beginning was baffled as to, could this have been Matthew shooting Savannah and then killing himself? law enforcement was baffled with that early in the investigation, and quickly when it got to the medical examiner, they ruled that out.
But McManus is cautious on confirmation of anything at this point. But we do have surveillance video that shows two persons of interest, is what they're calling them. And this video was taken surveillance video was captured just days before Soto and Guerra were discovered. And it's nearby where they were discovered dead. So that's the latest, but we're hoping to gather more information.
So it's that video was very important. And I know everyone's shouting from the chat that what broke this case was Savannah Soto. That's exactly correct. But I always like to say in an investigation, connect the dots together. Let's connect the dots. What do we have? Well, we have this video where the car was dumped, the individuals that that are seen getting out of that pickup truck. Everyone's obsessed with the white towel. And of course, that will have evidentiary material on it, whether it be blood, sweat, DNA. It will be a good piece of evidence. Now, you're talking about down the road to a potential trial. But the biggest smoking gun, and I hate to use that expression because people always say, oh, the smoking gun piece of evidence, is the cell phone, Savannah's cell phone. And we out here, not privy to the case folder, not privy to the inside information that the police have, weren't told that they recovered a cell phone. We weren't told that, but that was in fact true. They recovered her cell phone, and with the help of federal authorities, in this case, the Secret Service, were able to recover information off that phone. The other thing is, did Christopher Prasiado, the shooter in this case, did he have phone calls going into Savannah's phone? That is hugely incriminating evidence, if that is a possibility, or perhaps text messages. Or was the cell phone, what the information was in the cell phone was GPS information as to where they were. And that could be in the cell phone. So apparently the technology, again, and we talk about all these cases, Brian Koberger, the accused murderer of 4 students in Moscow, Idaho, digital evidence, huge in that case. And Alec Murdoch, the Snapchat video that put him on the scene of the murder of his son and his wife. All this digital evidence, the recent cases of the Adelsons from Miami, who the grandmother and Charles Adelson arrested, life in prison, all of that, all of the top evidence in those cases, of course, was digital evidence. And just a tremendous, tremendous job. And in this case also, the digital evidence was the smoking gun in this case. Callie Arkgal, but who was the towel person? I think they ate staying quiet and will be making another arrest. You know, Callie Arkgal, according to the sergeant who gave the initial press conference, he said that they're satisfied that there will be no other arrests in this, that they have the 2 persons that were involved in this case. Is that perhaps too early to determine this? Well, I'm taking from the horse's mouth, from the sergeant. Sandra Richardson, who had the gun? Whose gun was it? Toxicology report, autopsy report, financial report, 3 miles from the apartment where they lived to where they were dropped off. Not enough information to call it. Sandra, this just happened. The arrest just occurred. All the information that you're talking about, you're right. You're 100% right. That is investigative information they will need to collect. They will need to get. However, toxicology reports take 6 to 8 weeks to come back. So you're way ahead. You're putting the horse way ahead of the cart. The gun, we don't know yet. They remember right away they said we secured a search warrant for the apartment. Hopefully they got the gun. They matched the ballistics to the gun, and it's shown to be the gun. Okay, that's very good evidence, right? I'll use that term again, smoking gun. That's tremendous evidence. Betty Hendricks, the whole situation is so sad. My heart aches for everyone involved and touched by this horrific tragedy. God bless you. Thank you for reporting. Well, Betty Hendricks, thank you so much. This is a very sad case. I take no solace that what they were doing and what was connected causing this. Momo Shaw connection is one was a dealer and one was a buyer, equals drugs and money. Momo Shaw, 100%. And again, I'm reading from the chat right now, folks that are just listening. Can Matthew's father be charged for interfering with an investigation for breaking into his son's apartment and removing items? No, I don't think so, Sergeant Stadenko, because it could be viewed upon as an emergency situation. The son was missing, and law enforcement and the law will forgive him for breaking into an apartment because his intent wasn't to commit a crime. His intent was good, was to find his son, see his son and his son's girlfriend. So no crime was committed there. Absolutely no crime. Just me. They can't ID third person with the footage we have seen. If law enforcement have no other footage to ID a third person in the van, then nothing much they can do except hope either son or the father give it up. Yeah, possibly. Muggsy Siegel, thank you for the $5 super sticker. You can run, but you can't hide. 100%. And, sometimes we talk about, if you watch this show, geographical profiling. And what does that mean? What does geographical profiling mean? Well, what it means is most likely the person that did this lives very close by. Because why? Because criminals don't like to travel outside of their comfort zone. So where do they commit their crimes? They commit their crimes locally, close, as we would say, close to the vest, close by to where they live. So that's why geographical profiling works. And I think the San Antonio police absolutely know this, and their attentions were Oregon Brook were brought to that. Look at Mom's page and lifestyle. I'm wondering about the other brothers of the shooter. Talks to angels. Could it be the stepmom? And she cooperates, so no charges. I'm asking on the third person. T. King, prayers for both families. It's so awful for both their families. Thank you for your hard work on these videos, sir. T. King, thank you very much. Courtney Patterson, the towel person definitely plays a part helping by throwing the towel. They shouldn't be off the hook. An innocent baby that was overdue to being born was murdered. Courtney, you're 100% correct. And look, the investigation is never over when an arrest is made. In a lot of ways, it's just beginning. There's so many more things to do now to prepare evidence and to prepare the court part, to prepare the prosecution. First cause, he killed a pregnant woman. That won't go down well for him in prison. Probably need to be separated from everyone else for his safety. Venus Gal, I'm not doubting, but so this guy with no record went to steal all they had on them and planned to execute them to get it. Due to his post about his new delivery, etc., maybe. Well, Venus Gal, you don't have to believe it at this point, but the police will be putting a case together, and they'll be putting a case together that will prove who did it. The other thing was both father, Ramon, I believe his name is, there's Ramon up on the screen, Ramon Presciado, both father and son were interviewed, and I'm sure they gave statements. They were probably taken in for many hours. And apparently the father fully cooperated, according to the sergeant from San Antonio Police Department, fully cooperated. Now, did the son give a confession? I don't know. I don't know. They haven't released that yet. Will the police release that? Well, once the defendants go to arraignment, they have counsel, all right? So they have attorneys. So there's no more statements after that, as you guys know, you're true crime aficionados. So whatever statements or whatever value they got from interviewing both Christopher Presciado, 19, and Ramon Presciado, 53, all interviews are now over. That was the time for doing the interviews. And I'm sure the police did an exemplary job and got statements or confessions. You could see 19-year-old Christopher is absolutely, you could see in his face, he's no desperado, but think of the evil in his mind and the evil in his heart that he could execute two people, 18, a pregnant female, 18 years old, 9 months pregnant, overdue to deliver the baby, and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. And we're not moralizing about his lifestyle choices. The reason we bring that up on this show is because it helps to solve the case. What were they doing? Early on, when the broadcast media was just saying, "Oh, we have no idea," they knew what was going on too. They didn't want to put two and two together to report what was so obvious, you know. But when you report the obvious, that helps to narrow down what you're looking for, and it puts you in a direction, an investigative direction that will help you solve the case. And absolutely, Schmitty, this boy's going to look so different once his hair is cut. Wow, yeah, I guess so. Krista Smith Schuster, Heidi, I'm thinking the same. First, I thought another woman was involved, but now I'm wondering if this is the right kid, if he wasn't obsessed with Savannah. You know, I think that this is clear. I think, I don't know, because not enough information was given out yet by law enforcement. Cece, it's telling of the family dynamic that the father could be called upon to clean up. Yeah. Who's a young Lieutenant Peter Pranzo, Harlem Raiders, retired NYPD lieutenant. Lives are meaningless between drug dealers and bangers, and no one knows it better than you do, Lieutenant Pete. Thank you for your comments. Venus Gal, I don't believe it at all. I'm just trying to wrap my head around why and what he was thinking, and if he intended to do this just to steal, etc. I don't understand the mindness, coldness, or the evil. You know, Venus Gal, hard to understand. But what, you know, is that old expression, what evil lies in the hearts of men? Yeah. What was, you know, I said this numerous times on other shows, drug dealers have no soul. People that deal in that business have no soul. And when you look at the picture of Christopher on the screen, what do you see? You know, you see a kid that obviously is lost, you know, obviously is lost, doesn't know. Well, now he knows where his life's headed. He's headed to prison, and one stop to court, and he's, you know, jail and then prison.
Are you sorry for what happened? Did you know she was pregnant?
Oh, always fake news. So
This is your final chance to say something about your side.
Hey guys, we're going this way.
So,
yeah, guys, always one sided. You don't even know what's going on.
what we're seeing on the screen is the father, Ramon Presciado,
You sorry?
doing the perp walk
sorry?
Did you do it? Why
She
did
was-
you do it?
Did you know she was pregnant?
That's what you say?
Huh? Did you care?
Why was it the whole family?
Close to Christmas? Why, man? Any remorse? You sorry? Ain't you sorry for lying about what you're saying? You don't even know what's going on. Well, tell us. You just make stuff up. Like, tell us. What's going on?
Did you shoot them?
Did you shoot them?
An unborn baby. Did you kill them or did you just hide the evidence?
How'd you know Savannah?
Was it retaliation?
You sorry?
If it wasn't you, who was it then?
Watch out, guys. Closing door. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys.
You know, the perp walk is that they're trying to get a sound bite. That's what they're doing. I mean, serves no purpose. They're just trying to get a sound bite for their station. Here's Christopher Prasiado. And again, I keep saying baby-faced, long hair, 19 years old. You better believe
Are you
that
sorry for what
he
happened?
did this, you know?
Anything to say to your family? How does it make you feel, an unborn baby? What do you want to say to your family, to Savannah, to Matthew's family?
You sorry? You sorry? What message do you have
Nothing
for
to
the family?
say, an unborn child.
It was an entire family.
You sorry?
The sergeant will come up and give a few words. We'll listen to this again. You got to realize the sergeant probably hasn't slept in a week.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Washington Moscoso, WASHINGTON MOSCOSO. So the individuals you saw this evening, the first individual's name is Ramon Presciado, 53 years old, SID number 443651. The second individual was Christopher Prasiado, 19 years old, SID number 1191061. So the two individuals we just walked out today, again, is a father and son. The first individual is a father. The second individual is a son. They're going to be charged. The son's going to be charged this evening with capital murder, and the father's going to be charged with abuse of a corpse. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing. We all know what kind of led us to this to where we are today. I will say that when we recover, or when the bodies were discovered on Danny K, obviously the investigation made that location and started collecting evidence. One of the key pieces of evidence that we did collect at the scene, the cell phone, and so
They're talking about collecting the cell phone.
our technology team
Huge piece of evidence.
was in there
Sorry, it's a little flaky. This
with information, and so that information was given to our detectives today. With that information, the detectives were able to find a possible location of where the suspect vehicle that was released on that surveillance camera, the surveillance video, possible location where that suspect vehicle might be. They made that location, and sure enough, the vehicle was there. They did a little bit of surveillance on the video, or on the vehicle, and then were able to determine which house it belonged to. They went up, knocked on the door. The first gentleman, the first individual, the father answered the door. He knew why the police were there. Was cooperated fully with the investigation. We're right here to headquarters, and our detectives were able to start interviewing both the son and the father. Again, they were both at the home. They were both brought down here, and the interrogations began. Through interrogating the individuals, our detectives had enough based on what they said, there was enough information there to get a warrant signed by a judge tonight, again, to charge Christopher with capital murder and Ramon with abuse of a corpse. Again, there will be more charges pending. This is what we have right now. I'll answer any questions you might.
So, lots of questions. Did you recover the gun?
Yes, yes. And so I want to touch base on something real quick. Since the release of the video that we put out on the 28th, there has been, internet has blown up with people sending tips and people just sending misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation out there. These two individuals are the only suspects that we were looking for. They were arrested. There were many names being thrown around on the internet. Those people had nothing to do with this. We vetted them and everything. They didn't have anything to do with these murderers. So the individual, again, Christopher, we believe committed the murders of Matthew and Savannah, and then Ramon helped kind of dump the body. It appears to be a narcotic related deal that went bad.
Do we know the connection between this father and son and Matthew and Savannah, or the connection to the apartment complex?
So there's no apparent connection to the apartment complex. It's just a place where they went to go dispose or hide the vehicle with the bodies in it. And it appears that it was a drug deal. So there was like a drug connection to the suspect and the two victims. It's just when you hiding the body, moving the body after discovering that and all that kind of stuff. Yep. December 21st, which is a Thursday, just before midnight, is when the actual murders took place. On that. Mm-hmm. Right. So like I said, there's going to be possible charges pending, more charges pending. Our detectives are going to talk with the Bexar County DA to determine if they're going to be any charges they're going to be facing any charges related to the unborn baby.
And do we know if she was dilated at all?
I didn't have that information from the medical examiners. I know that she was scheduled to be induced, and she didn't make her appointment, which is why the family went to the police to file the missing persons report.
Did he say where exactly they killed?
I don't have exactly location. We just know that they were killed at a different location and then taken to the apartment complex to dispose of the vehicle and the body. There was some Spanish questions I wanted to knock out real quick.
Sí, podría darnos un resumen pequeño para la audiencia hispana de estas personas.
Yeah, he's taking questions in Spanish. So since I don't speak fluent Spanish, I don't know how many of you guys in the audience do. I'm going to pull away from it now. Aunt BB2, member for 17 months. Sergeant Bill, no charge for the baby. Aunt BB2, I think that the charges will be determined by the district attorney. And he'll charge whatever is appropriate for what occurred. And he's the expert on the law. They mentioned capital murder. Now, capital murder is in New York, it would be called like a felony murder, special circumstances. In this instance, the special circumstances were that Savannah was 9 months pregnant. So one of the things, this is a death penalty case. And one of the things that the death penalty is usually contingent upon, one of the things that would exclude you from getting the death penalty is that you're less than 18. So I would imagine that's probably the law, and I don't know for sure, the law in Texas, you have to be over 18. And in this case, Christopher Prasiado is 19. So is he eligible to be charged with capital murder? That's the word they're using all the time. Yes, he's going to be charged. So apparently the age must be 19, over 18 years old, because if it was 21, then he would not be eligible for it. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, then you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed to us, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. ring that bell and share us with your friends and your family. If you want to contribute to us, we have a Patreon with 3 different levels, and we also have a YouTube channel membership with, count them, 5 different levels. So we present these cases from a experienced perspective, having worked cases similar to this, and knowing what the police are doing, what they should be doing. And I don't know if they listen to us for suggestions. They probably don't, because I'm sure, as you can see, the San Antonio police did a fantastic job here. And again, even though when a case like this happens, people, family, friends, the community, they want an arrest immediately. And guess what? You can't get an arrest immediately because it takes time for some of this stuff to come back. Michelle McCleary Bearden, if it was an ordered cartel hit, the shooters would not have been caught and the bodies wouldn't have been moved. They did not care about getting caught because they never are. Michelle, as you can see, these guys are not masterminds. They are not mastermind criminals. Look at this kid. I mean, he belongs in college, not playing in the drug trade. And look at his father. His father is just a hardworking, business owner that his only, well, I'm not going to say that, but he helped his son doing a horrific crime. And perhaps if he could undo what he did, maybe he'd think about it the next time and never, well, there won't be a next time, but his actions were definitely deplorable. And then we think about the family, of course, of Matthew Guerra, and we sympathize with them. And we hope that this, and in no way this is going to bring him back or Savannah back, but we sympathize with them. And we hope that this helps in the littlest way to know that someone's going to be held accountable for this. And there's Savannah on the screen, again, 9 months pregnant. Rest in heaven, Savannah and baby Fabian. Yes, an unborn child was killed in this case. There's the crime scene. But the good thing, of course, is to arrest Christopher Presciado, age 19, and Ramon Presciado, age 53. A lot, and I know, guys, I'm not answering all your questions this morning because I don't have all the answers right now. And I think what we're all waiting for to get more answers is I'm pretty sure there'll be an afternoon press conference, which hopefully will answer some of the things. Specifically, where was the location of the murder? Where did it happen? Do they not know that? I think that's an important question. Even jurisdictionally, where did it actually occur? Was it inside the car? Or the body shot inside? I would think that that's more likely that they were shot inside the car because trying to move 2 bodies from outside inside a car is I don't see that happening. First cause, this is from the chat. He will get the death penalty because it is a high-profile case. It's a heinous crime unless he can afford good lawyers. Angela Luster, what does abuse of a corpse mean? Just getting rid of a body, or was Matthew mutilated in some way? Angela Luster, I don't know the answer to that. From what the sergeant said, I believe it's Moscoso. It was just helping in moving the bodies, transporting the bodies from point A to point B. But I don't know. I've never heard that charge before. But that's what he's being charged with. What could the potential penalties be for Ramon Presciado? What are charges for abuse of a corpse, of helping to move the bodies? It's sort of tampering with evidence, if you will. That's what that also does. But what charges will he be facing? What potential penalties will he be facing? I don't think. Look, he's not charged with acting in concert and committing the murders. He came in after the fact, so he came in after they were dead. After Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra was already killed, so he came in after the fact. So, what are the potential penalties with him? So there's the thumbnail on the screen. San Antonio police announce an arrest in the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra case. And I know everyone was impatient with this. When are they going to make an arrest? We want it done, we want it done yesterday. We want it done immediately. Yeah. I'm reading some of it. Just me. I think abuse of a corpse was the main charge for the arrest warrant. Other charges will be pending. Well, I think the main charge for the arrest warrant was capital murder. Perhaps for Ramon, that it would be, abuse of a corpse, but the main charge would be capital murder. I'm sure of that. I'm reading some of the chat. I'm trying to put some of your Joe Sabo. The fact that Matthew was in the back of the car says the shooter drove the car to where they were found. Matthew may have been shot outside the car and she in the car. Joe Sabo, we could all conjecture, but we don't know. The evidence will tell us, and the police know what occurred. They just haven't released it yet. So we can give our guesstimate. We can guess what happened, but evidence and physical evidence will tell the real truth. Super Carlos 13. What if he was there but not pulled the trigger? Well, if he was there when they were murdered and he took part in it, then he could be charged with acting in concert. But it doesn't appear to be that right now. It appears that he came in after the fact. If he was there, they would have certainly charged him with capital murder also and acting in concert, but they did not. Olana, they were only thinking about themselves and didn't want to work anymore. That's what I think didn't care what happened to them. Well, look, the drug trade is an unforgiving business. I'm amused. I like that. How much empathy would there be for victims when the truth of how many people died because of the drugs they were selling? The fate of that little baby was in a parent's hands. It is unfortunate. I'm amused. You're 100% correct. But I think today we could, we don't have, not to gloat or anything like that, or to not forgive that they were in the drug trade, but to maybe an arrest has been made. 2 arrests have been made. So do we really need to harp upon the drug angle? Yeah, the drug angle helped solve this case. It helped to look in the right direction. So it was important. Yeah, and is it important? Yeah, it's important because maybe a would-be young drug dealer might say, something, I'm getting out of this business, man. I don't want to be dead by the time I'm 25. Because that's basically what you're facing, Room 22, maybe he was a runner for Matthew, so they trusted him, restocking him to keep things going as they wouldn't be around for a few days. I'm really wondering if Matthew had snitched and this killing was revenge for that. Others have said, plus the previous video about clear alert about 3350 mark, a comment from friend said that, well, Betty Smith, it appears that's not the case right now. What the case is, and you heard the police sergeant, Moscoso, say that it was a drug deal gone bad. This is not uncommon. It happens in every city in the United States, every suburb. There's drug rips all the time. You play in that game, you play with fire, you get burned, and it's not uncommon. So we don't have to keep looking at conspiracies because the truth is right in front of our face. this was either a drug rip or a drug deal went bad, And if it was a rip, maybe Christopher went there with the full intention of robbing them, and he would do whatever he had to do, and which in this case was execute 2 human beings, one a 9-month pregnant female. So yeah, just intolerable, crazy. Folks, if you're looking for a fantastic, fabulous attorney in the New York metropolitan area, then Joe Murray is your man. Joe's a retired NYPD police officer turned attorney. You can reach Joe at 718-514-3855. That's his cell phone. Email him at joe@jmurray-law.com. Go on his website, jmurray-law.com. Not only is Joe a fantabulous, I'll take a Van Morrison word, attorney, but a great supporter, huge supporter of the Police Off the Cuff podcast. So, folks, that's the update. That's what's going on right now. Will there be I would imagine there will be a press conference sometime this morning, sometime this afternoon, to clarify a lot of the information that we received. A lot of questions we all have, a lot of unanswered questions that we'd like to know the answers to. You heard the sergeant when we played some of the video of the Sergeant Moscoso say that there were so many false flags in this case, so many leads that they have to check out. And that's the nature of investigation. You don't know the truth yet. You don't know the direction yet. And that's why I spoke earlier upon the drug connection to this and the drug direction. And that's what it turned out to be. But that will narrow it down, because when people are feeding you all kinds of false information, and some is well-intended, it takes the investigation and the investigators on directions that they don't want to go to. And it takes a lot of their time away from going in the correct direction. Anyway, folks, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I guess it was pretty early this morning, right? We went on the air pretty early. I want to thank you, Julie. I mean, typically you're not going to carry a ton of money and inventory around to no deals. So these 3 lives were wasted for what? A couple of $1,000s or less. It's really sad. Julie, you're 100% correct. Joe Sabo, the gun will be found at the shooter's house. A kid 19 years old is not going to be parted from his gun. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that they found the gun. I think that there's a really good chance of that. Sandy McMasters, Matthew wouldn't just stand there for this guy to shoot him. Remember close contact behind the ear? I think he shot Matthew from the back seat, then Savannah. The physical evidence will tell us how it occurred, what it occurred. Donna L. Bill, what about the person in the truck that passed the towel? Donna, all I can tell you is that right now the sergeant said there are going to be no other arrests. So I don't know why then, that if there is a third person, that person didn't get arrested. But people are becoming obsessed with that towel. And yeah, it's an important piece of evidence, but apparently they didn't, there's no third person arrested. Okay. I'm just reading some of the words in the chat. Snooby Canooby, the motive is robbery. He's flashing Matthew's cash on TikTok video. Stack of cash. I'm amused. No need to harp on anything. Just tell that to the parents and family of those who have died from the drugs that were sold. No one's hands are clean in this situation, and I'm angry. Better decisions. I'm amused. You're 100% correct, but the family right now is they're in a lot of sadness. They're in trauma. So let's give them a little break right now. Schmitty, I'm interested to see what Ramon knew. If he wasn't there when the murders happened, did he know they were going to happen? We'll find out. Look, there are so many unanswered questions, and I'm not going to be able to answer them for you right now. And all of us await a press conference with in-depth information, and as yet we haven't had that. Glass of water. Fat Boy was mad that he wouldn't have money for all the tacos in the world to eat that night if he would have spent money on drugs. So the drug dealer couple got the, well, I think you're just trying to be funny there. Heidi, a statement was made too by placing the baby carrier on Savannah's lap. He took the time to place it there. Yeah, look, there's all the time in the world to look at this now. There's been an arrest, and we're all happy for that. Again, kudos to the San Antonio Police Department, the detectives, the bosses who worked tirelessly to bring this case to a conclusion, to an arrest, and now a prosecution. So we want to thank them. We want to appreciate their skill and their hard work in this case. They did a fantastic job. And I won't use the word closure because there's no closure here. But it's good to know that someone is going to be held accountable for this heinous crime. So, folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon. Thank you for tuning in to me this morning and to give my perspective from a police point of view on this case. Have a great day, everyone. God bless and stay safe.
One episode just ain't enough.